Hey everybody, David Henry here, and welcome back to the 30 Days to Become a Lighting Ninja. I'm really glad you've joined us back here today, where I'm talking about creating your first effects. And so this tutorial is going to be console agnostic. I'm not going to go through a specific console. However, I'm going to link to some tutorials for MPC and DMXs and D-Pro that walk you through how to do it inside of those consoles. So be paying attention below for that. But in this video, I just want to talk you through the basics of creating your first effects, because in pretty much any console, it's a very similar process. So we're here in the visualizer, and I'm just going to go ahead and start with my front lights here. Okay, so I'm going to go and select them here in my console. Of course, you can't see that, but that's all right. So I've got them there. I'll highlight those guys. Oh, not those, just the front ones. There we go. Those four lights. And I'm going to go ahead and create to start an intensity effect, because that's pretty easy to see. So we're just going to work with the intensity on these lights. Now, in most consoles, actually really all consoles, an effect is built by taking a base value and then combining that with some sort of offset. So the console says, okay, here's where I'm starting. And then throughout the course of this effect, I'm going to move the value from that base point, either up or down or both. And so that's the first thing I'm going to adjust here. I'm going to set a speed that I want the effect to happen at, just so we see something happen. And then I'm going to set that offset, okay? So we can see here, I'm working in MPC, but this could work again in any console, that as I set an offset, my lights now change. And right now they're going from about 0 to full on an effect, okay? So that's the first thing. Now, in some consoles, when you first build an effect, it's going to automatically offset it so they don't all happen at the same time like this. And in others, you're going to have to offset it after you create the effect. It just, the order varies in different consoles. And so now I'm going to set the speed that I want things to happen at, okay? And so, for example, I thought this was maybe just a little fast, so I'll slow it down a little. And so now I've set how much it's going to offset. In MPC, that's called the swing, but in other consoles, it's different. Then I'm going to set the speed. How fast does it go? Next, I'm going to set the curve or the mode or the shape that I want the effect to happen on. So for this particular one, I'm going to go ahead and just leave it where it was on the typical sine wave shape, okay? And this is something you're going to see in a lot of consoles, a sine shape. And then I'm going to go ahead and set an offset. So the offset, or the effects timing, or the chase, if in DMXs, is your console's way of saying, okay, how do we distribute the effect among our fixtures? For example, if I distribute it across all my fixtures here in MPC, we see now that as the first one starts, the last one ends, okay? So I've just spread that sine wave, I've just spread that curve evenly across my four fixtures. Now say I kick that back to 2. Now it's going to do 2 at a time, and then the other 2. And so depending on your consoles, there's really different ways to do this, but I just want to give you a brief introduction here and really help you to see how building these effects work, okay? And so some of the great things about effects is that you can layer them. So let's go ahead and do some color. I'm just going to bring up my cyan at full, and then grab my magenta. No, I'll grab my yellow, actually. We'll kind of do a cyan to green effect. And we're going to go ahead and then start moving that, okay? So now we see them all as the intensity is going. They're also changing from cyan to green. This time I actually want to just make that a hard chase. And now I'm going to spread it out across my fixtures. Okay, so now we see both effects happening, and you can see how this can get really powerful. And so I just want to kind of introduce this to you and kind of show you different ways that things can work, that in any console, this is really generally the way to think about effects, okay? So you think about, where do you want that effect to start? And then how much do you want to offset off that base point? You then want to decide what speed you want it to happen at. And then you're going to distribute it along all your fixtures. You're going to offset that effect. And so this is really the basics of creating great effects. And in the next video, I'm going to talk to you guys about recording and stopping your effects and what you kind of want to be thinking about in a given console as you begin to do that. So I hope you join me tomorrow there. And if you haven't, of course, subscribe here on Learn Stage Lighting YouTube so that you get the latest videos, including the rest in this 30 days to become a lighting ninja. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Thanks.